an opportunity as a community to really address that. We understand that there was a meeting held, and there's going to be another meeting at Trinidad Recreation Center about Hamilton. We're not sure why it's going to be at Trinidad Recreation Center, and that Trinidad is located in 5D02. Hamilton is located in 5D01. So if you want to have a meeting in addition, well, that meeting in addition to another meeting that's in 5D01, that would be appropriate. But just taking it over to Trinidad, and how did that process happen? Let's go back, because
which you had two separate questions.
Well, it's the same process. We're talking, there's a move. Apparently there has been an accelerated move to surplus these two schools. We received, I say we, several of the commissioners received letters by FedEx. And in my experience, whenever I receive a letter by FedEx, somebody forgot to do due diligence, and now they're trying to make up for it by making sure you get something at the last minute. So that's not appropriate. That does not give us an opportunity to fully vet, the situation as colleagues. It doesn't give us the opportunity to fully vet the matter to the public. So it just serves the public. We want to slow this process down so that citizens to help restore citizens' trust in this process. We don't even know what the process is and how we got to the point of request for solicitation. So let's go back.
Okay, so let's go back a little bit, because you asked a lot of questions and made a lot of statements that we need to address. For Young School, as I indicated, Young has been surplus since 2008.
How did that happen? Who was notified? Were you notified?
I can't speak about 2008 because that predated me. But what happens, let me explain what happens when the school is considered surplus. The DC Public Schools makes a determination that they have no need for that school any longer. So when they make that decision that they have no need for that school, then it comes over to the Department of General Service. And Mark, you can correct me if because I've only been doing this for like a year now, so it might be some history that I'm missing. But so DC Public Schools makes a decision, we're going to close this school, we have no need for it. They turn it over to the Department of General Service. And then,
just stop for a second. When was the Department of General Services implemented?
In November of 2012.
Okay, when was Charles Young designated as a surplus?
The first time in 2008.
2008.
So it may have been under the Department of Services at that time.
All my understanding and recollection are that these closures, including Webb, were all done under Reed, Michelle Reed.
Yeah, these were 2008.
And that was part of all of the drama.
Opposed.
Right, that's what I'm saying. But I'm just sort of trying to put this in historical context in terms of what was going on in the city at the time.
Right, because in 2008, it wasn't the Department of General Service. So my understanding is also there was a request for offers put out in 2008 and 2012 for Young schools. So it isn't the first time that we tried to get someone to use that school and there were no offers accepted. So Young has been in the pipeline of disposal for a few years. Then once we had
you said 2012?
2012, in March of 2012.
Okay. I was the ANC commissioner in 2012 and I was not aware of that.
Okay, and that's what, we're hearing these things today, so that's why we're here. To give you an understanding of what the process is and to hear your concerns. So we're making note of that and we'll check our files and see if anything was sent out. So just recently, it was decided that let's try the request for offers again for Young and see if we can get use of the school with a charter. So in reference to your comment about us sending the information to the Federal Express, we did not do that because we realized at the last minute. Well, the reason we do that is to confirm receipt. Because we have a lot of ANCs, we have a lot of other, when we send notices out, people say I didn't get it. So the only way we can confirm receipt is to send some kind of certified mail. It could be Federal Express, it could be certified, and they'll usually send out 30 days in advance of the meeting. So we sent it out 30 days in advance with their intent that 30 days would be sufficient time to help get the word out to the community. We also,
this letter is dated August 5th. And yeah, both letters are dated August 5th, so it's only August 13th.
And that's for which meeting though?
This is for Charles Young.
For September.
For September.
That's for the September meeting. I received it on August.
That's for the September meeting. So that's 30 days in advance. The meeting we had at Rosedale, we also sent that out 30 days in advance, and we also followed up with an email, which I later found out that we weren't using the proper email, so we got the right email. But the intent is never to not include the ANC and not include the community. So our goal is to give you at least 30 days notice of any public hearings. What we have to do probably a little different is, in addition to sending the notices to the ANC, we're going to start doing our own flyers and doing our own legwork as far as getting the information out to residents so everyone is aware. Because we've had ANC commissioners say that they don't have the resources to do the printing and the distribution. And to be quite honest, from our perspective as an agency, we were reaching out to the elected officials for the community to help get the word out. So that's the reason it's Federal Express, and we always send out information Federal Express, not just for these meetings, but for any kind of meetings we have. We also send it out electronically. If you give me listserv, if you give me other means of communication, we'll send it out that way as well. So our goal is to get community input. And so for Young, back to Young, like I said, that's been in surplus in 2008. So we're just trying to get used to that facility. And the request for office has gone out to charter schools. The meeting in September, the goal of that meeting is, if we get any offers, is to let the charter schools come and present to the community. We want to be in your community, and this is what we're proposing. So that's the goal of the meeting in September. And to answer your question about Hamilton,
Hamilton and Young. And
Hamilton,
you can't answer the questions because in 2008, it seemed like that process was very
I can only speak from this process.
That wasn't the ANC commission of 2000.
Right, so from this process forward, and the other thing we do, which we sometimes find challenging, is we depend heavily on the ANC website. We look for addresses on there, we look for email addresses, and we look for phone numbers. Because and some ANCs I know, because I've been doing community outreach for a long time, other ANCs I don't know, so that's the only way we know how to reach out initially. Sometimes that works for us, sometimes that doesn't. But to answer your question about Hamilton, the reason is at Trinidad, that's where we had the first meeting, and I worked with the ANC on that when I did flyers for her, gave her flyers, and she said Trinidad was fine. So if that's not the right location, I'll work with her.
Commissioner?
Debbie is her single member. Actually, I just delivered flyers to her on Monday, because her meeting is not till the 21st or the 22nd. I can probably look it up.
Commissioner Jamar?
Hamilton is in 5D01.
Yeah, so.
Was it Hamilton? No, I'm sorry, it wasn't Hamilton. It was Shedd. It was it wasn't Hamilton. You're right. Wrong one. Hamilton, I don't know if we've scheduled. Yeah, Hamilton is at Trinidad. But we'll find out if we don't have the right. And the other thing, though, and I don't mean to be disrespectful, but if we send it to the wrong ANC, it would help us if an ANC say, hey, I'm not the ANC commissioner, could you send it to this person? Because we don't know. We also make mistakes. We put in an address, and it tells us which ANC it is. So if we make a mistake, we're okay with correcting that mistake, and we'll just redo it. I mean, if Hamilton's not the right place, maybe I'll reach out to you tomorrow, you can tell me who the right ANC is, and maybe
I can tell you, it's Commissioner Pettigay Lewis.
I know I haven't really been talking to Pettigay Lewis.
No.
I mean, I'm just saying she's
very upset.
But I know that's not who I've been working with, but I'll reach out to her and make the necessary apology and tell her who I've been talking to, which ANC commissioner. But that's our process. Our process is to notify you, have this public hearing, hear community's input, submit the request for office, then have the charters come back and present to the community. That's pretty much the process in a nutshell. Once DCPS tells us it's surplus, then we start our outreach with you and the community to try to get information.
In fairness to you, it doesn't sound like that you are completely to blame for this process or lack thereof. What we're going to do at this point, Mr. Johnson, I see your hand, we're going to let you speak. We're going to allow the two charter school applicants that are here today to give a brief overview, but the commission is going to take a position that we're going to go back, slow the process down to make sure that the community, DCPS aired on a number of fronts. The old Office of Property Management aired on a number of fronts. Charles Young got to the surplusing process without the community's knowledge or input. that is grossly inappropriate. We would be remiss as elected officials if we would allow this matter to go forward without correcting that at this juncture. So we're going to be asking your director, your boss, and the mayor to revisit this process to allow us to, again, there's really an angry public dialogue about the giving away of public buildings, and we don't want to be a part of that negativity. We want to make sure that if a legitimate case can be made for surplusing, any publicly owned buildings, that it's a transparent process that the citizens, can support. And at this juncture, based on the angry email I got from Commissioner Lewis, that has not happened. And I did share my concerns with the both of you at that meeting at Rosedale. I think there was only a handful of people at the Rosedale meeting because there wasn't enough outreach. So we want to make sure that there's transparency here. So we're not going to blame you, because clearly this process happened before you all started in 2012, and we can correct it